All right, this is another episode of Hypatheticals. Again, the podcast where three mildly pathetic guys, well, it's frankly two mildly pathetic guys and Peter, who is the most pathetic of all of us, I think is...
Woo!
Yes, bringing up the rear in the most spectacularly pathetic way possible is Peter, but it is myself, Matt. I've got Peter and Justin here. It is my turn to ask the questions. Before we get there, gentlemen, how are you doing? How are you doing there? Let's go with Justin first, I suppose. What sour beer story do you have for us this week?
Oh, there's no new sour beer stories for you guys, unfortunately. Once I found the cucumber lime gosa that I've been absolutely loving, I've just sort of been rocking that. But I am all out, and I need to go stock up. So that is my next adventure. So I guess that's the only sour beer story I have.
It sounds like a marital aid. A cucumber lime. What is it?
A gosa.
A gosa? Okay.
It's phenomenal.
Peter, how are you doing? Peter has left, apparently. Peter is just not ready for us.
Peter can't handle. He can't hang.
Well, apparently we said marital aid, and he just was like, whoa, that reminds me. He just went off somewhere.
Listen, all right? I was trying to build the suspense.
Oh, really?
Okay? That's all I was trying to do.
Like, where's the suspense in the fact that you probably watched Ghostbusters, like, over the weekend? Like, that's what you did. There's no suspense in that.
I also had to go get a beer because that's the only way I deal with all of your guys' bullshit.
So when I asked you, like, 2 seconds ago, and I said, are you guys ready to go and start recording? And everyone said yes. And then you said, hold on, give me 2 minutes. Then you left.
Yeah.
You came back, and then we started the show. And then you left to get a beer after we started the show. Is that correct?
Yeah, because you guys started talking, and I just remembered how annoying it is talking to all of you.
Wait, it's a podcast. What do you think we do?
I was like, oh, God.
That literally is the job description. Talk for half an hour.
This is going to be a long one.
I don't understand. This isn't like, Peter, they don't have this in Braille, okay? Like, they don't have podcasts. That's not an option yet for this.
That's $1 million idea.
A Braille podcast?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say that? There you go. There's your $1 million idea.
Like, imagine Joe Rogan in
okay.
Braille.
Well, you know what, Peter? You've forfeited your time in this case.
I already won the point. Yes.
No, there's no point. God damn it. Now I'm trying to market a Braille podcast in my head. Okay. Anyways, so this week's question, gentlemen, is one that I've been sitting on, much like Justin sits on a cucumber lime gosta or whatever the hell it's called.
Good try.
I tried. I screwed up. All right, so here it is. This is the question, friends. Now, your objective is a small one, but it is... Basically, you can take any physical item in the entire world. It could be a landmark. It could be something as small as a coin. It could be a lamppost. It could be the Taj Mahal. It doesn't matter. You get to choose what it is on planet Earth. You are going to then double it in size. So you're doubling one thing in the world in size, and your objective is to make the world a better place. What would you double in size in order to make the world a better place? Now, a better place for you could be, something along the lines of, I'm just going to double my property space and it's going to be a better world for me, and that's all I care about. But then again, there's going to be billions of people in the world who don't give a shit, and your neighbors are probably going to be pissed. But then again, you could double something that, increases the happiness of so many other people, and that might be a better answer. So you got to convince me that what you're doubling in size is going to make the world a better place. So that is my question. Now, usually how this goes is if you guys have any clarity or clarifications that you want, any limitations, if you have anything you want to ask me, now's the time, because I'm going to set these boundaries, and then basically anything else that you throw at me, I will, very nimbly swat away with a tennis racket of disappointment.
Okay, so does it have to be a building that I double in size? It can be anything.
No. It could be anything. You could pick
Could it be like personal wealth?
Even if I doubled that, I still wouldn't be rich. So.
Well, that's also part of it. Like, now I have $14. No, like, that's not... In my head, basically what I was thinking was, I'm like, okay, Justin might think about his bank account, and Peter's going to think about his penis.
That's what I was thinking about.
For sure. But, Peter, even with a 4-inch penis, you're not really going to make anyone happy. I'm just saying.
You never know.
Because if you want to target your bank account, then you are just making the physical space where your money is twice as big. You're not doubling the number, the value of your money. The physical, volume of something will then double in mass, in space, etc. All the properties remain the same. So you could take a goose out of the freaking lake and be like, this goose is now twice as big, and this is my option. But like wealth won't work because it's not, your personal finances or wealth are not a physical thing. Like, and if you say, well, I have a $20 bill, I want to make it twice as big. Okay, you now have a $20 bill that is twice as big, and you can no longer pass it at the store. So frankly, you have done even the opposite of what you're trying to do.
It's a Willy Wonka $20 bill now.
Like, you just get like a check.
Oh, exactly. There you go. In which case it's not. It's like a giant novelty check. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, and you just blow it up bigger.
No, that doesn't make the money bigger, Peter. God damn it. Okay, so that is my... Now, again, I don't know, given the fact that you guys don't have much time to actually, mull this over, I feel like this is going to be one of those where there's no immediate special right answer, because I couldn't think of it. I was sitting on this for a long time, and I was like, I wouldn't even know what the fuck to do. And again, to everyone's credit, when I couldn't think of an obvious answer, the first thing I did was I looked at my penis. I said... Well,
that would make your world a better place.
Fuck everyone else. If I could at least make one guy happy.
Doesn't do shit for mine.
Right. Well, I mean, depends how many beers you give me or how I give you. I don't know how it works.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna. You know what, Peter? I'm gonna let you go first because.
All right. I have the winning answer, anyways.
Oh, well,
as always.
I think we're now on like 11 consecutive episodes where that has been said, where they have the winning answer, but usually by me actually. But
this is my winning answer.
Oh, God, we can't say that. No. Because...
And double it in size.
Okay, that we might edit that out. You can't say that. That's not good. In a world where we're trying to broaden our audience, you are now cutting a lot of them out. All right, Peter, I'm gonna give you a chance here. We're gonna edit that part out, so nobody. That'll go in the footnotes. That's in the OnlyFans version, the premium account.
The premium unedited.
So what we just edited out of this, you can go ahead and tweet at Peter and ask him what he said, but it is we can't say that. So Peter, but it wasn't his penis. It wasn't my penis. It wasn't a penis at all. Go for it, Peter. So I'll give you another.
I mean, it's kind of a penis.
So this is.
I suppose you're right. I guess to a degree. Okay, so Peter, you're gonna get you get a second chance here.
So like you could say things like the Earth. I want to make it twice as big so that more people can live on it. We have more natural resources. Blah 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 blah. But what they don't realize is that if we make it twice as big, now we make gravity twice as strong. People are going to be shorter and smaller, and it's going to be harder to move around, and, you don't really want that. So, if I had to make something bigger.
Twice as big.
Again,
it could be something, even if you could take the approach, when I say make the world a better place for as many people as possible, I mean, you could just think locally and be like, you know what, if I can just make this city a better place, that might be more people than what Justin had. Justin might have been like, I want to make, my backyard twice as big so that my dog is happier or whatever. Like my family has a nicer, better area to sort of live in, and that's making 5 people happy, let's say. So now... Mm-hmm. You're running out of time here, Peter, because we're up against the clock here. So
I know, that's why this is so hard.
All right, I'm going to cut you some slack. So go get 19 more beers and ignore the podcast for another 2 minutes. Justin, I'm trusting you to rescue Peter out of this shithole that he's dug.
I'm gonna rescue Peter.
You got this.
So I've been doing some thinking since you made Peter try to go first. And I think what I would double in size to make the world a better place would be the Great Lakes. And the reason for that is because one of the things that the world is lacking and is going to be lacking very soon is fresh drinking water. And Canada has the largest amount of fresh water in the world. And the Great Lakes are a massive source of that. And I think that we need to, clean them up so that they're not so polluted, parts of them. Lake Ontario, I'm looking at you. But I think that if we were to double the Great Lakes in size, that would double the amount of fresh water that we would be able to not only give out to Canada and the US and all of North America, but, to even dish out for the rest of the world, parts of Africa. I think that there's going to come a time very soon where the world comes knocking on Canada's door for our water. And I think that one of the most important things that we can do is try to double that in size, because I think that fresh drinking water is step one to making sure that this world is a healthy and livable place for everybody. And thank you for listening to my depressing TED Talk.
I was gonna say, because I was waiting for, this beautiful rendition. This it was like you'd addressed the UN at that point, and I just want to say that this comes off the heels of you creating a sport where you're spearing horses like kebabs, and then selling their jerseys in some disgusting animal equestrian blood sport. But no, that's not bad. Okay, I have a question for you about this now. I'm going to give you a pass on this because when you said double the size of the Great Lakes, I was thinking the chasm, the indenture into the world where the water lies. So the water wouldn't double. You're just doubling the size of that area. Now, there's a lot of cities that live on these lakes, and you're going to have to make space for them. So that was going to be a little bit tough to do, but I'll give it to you because in terms of Great Lakes, it is the water and the space in which that it encompasses. I'll give you that one. That's kind of like a 2-for-1. You're creating the space for it and the water for it. It's fine. That's a good one because you're also thinking about the actual, the hydrocurrency that might be, floating around in the future when money means nothing.
Oh, there's so many other benefits to doing it, minus the fact that we're giving fresh water to the world, and being able to double that. But like you said, even to produce more hydro and things like that, and I mean just in general, water is just one of those places that everybody loves a good lake to go walk around or to go swimming in, and so why not have more of it? I mean, I was originally gonna say the Colosseum. Just because I think that having a Colosseum twice as big as it is now would be badass, being like an ancient Roman. I studied classics in university, but I decided that I have to make the world a better place, and I couldn't justify that one. So doubling the Great Lakes it is.
Well, that big Colosseum is where you can have your disgusting, your jousting, freaking murder ball, or whatever it is.
I was gonna say they don't even use the Colosseum, so all you're doing is just making something unusable bigger.
Well, that's not a bad. That's why he didn't choose it, Peter. See, that's the thing.
That's I want to make the Leaning Tower of Pisa twice as long.
Oh, then it falls. It just falls, Peter.
That's the point.
Okay, all right. I like it. And again, like I said, because to you, you're and you can give everybody water, because in the future, water is going to be scarce, and we're going to need to give it to people. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, let's make it more so we have more water, and then everybody's going to want our water, and we'll charge them so much money for our water. And then, all right, okay. Peter, you've been given now a third chance to provide an answer. Hopefully this one's not as amazingly offensive as the one that has been edited out of this episode, but go for it.
Well, at first I was like, you know what? Maybe I would make my dog twice as big. Then I can ride it like a horse. And I was like, no, you know what?
We've done that. That's been an episode already. You've done that one already.
Yeah, the Dorse. It should have won. It didn't.
The fucking Dorse.
And then I was like, maybe I'll make my bed twice as big so I can have more dogs sleeping on my bed. Because, as you guys all know, I am a dog lover. But not that kind of lover. I mean, I like dogs.
No, I don't think anyone was accusing you of fucking dogs, Peter.
I like women.
This is getting real weird.
All right, Peter. We're waiting for this. We're all on. We're just, the suspense is so thick. It is just viscous at this point.
Yeah, so I thought about when you were saying to make the world a better place or to make people happier. What do? We have to make something bigger. And then I thought making something bigger doesn't necessarily make it better if you can't staff what you make bigger. So my initial idea, after my last 2, 3, 4 ideas, was we would take Sick Kids Hospital in downtown Toronto and make it 2 times bigger. Granted that we could staff it, because then we can take care of more kids. You know what I mean? And make them feel better. They're more space, more kids. But then I was like, well, as long as we have enough doctors, we could do that. But I feel like there might be like a shortage of doctors like that, and this also there's too many effects. Justin's was nature, and you don't need people to staff nature, right?
I was gonna say I don't think the lakes have like a secretary or something like they don't have like an accounts payable like Lake Ontario doesn't have an HR department,
Yeah, Lake Ontario isn't bouncing checks, so you don't have to worry about that. Then I was like, maybe we'll do the Amazon. If we make the Amazon twice as big, now we have like all these ecosystems and like fresh air and all that kind of stuff. Because I heard something about the Amazon like filtering like 50% of the world's fresh oxygen or something like that. I don't know what it was. I don't remember. All I remember is it was something about the Amazon.
What you heard was that the Amazon was having a 50% off sale, and then you got confused in your brain.
Yeah.
That's what you heard.
I was like, I could buy the Amazon?
Have you settled on an answer yet? Because you've pretty much told us all the answers you're not choosing.
Yeah. So it's such a hard thing because there's so many things that you want to make better, But
yeah, well, you could start with one thing.
Yeah. Really?
We're waiting, Peter.
I'm like trying to convince myself in my own head what I would choose.
I swear to God, Peter, if you don't give me an answer in the next 5 seconds, I will just assume that your answer is your penis. That's literally what it's going to be. You might even win.
I'm not going to deny that. But I think if we wanted to make the world a better place by making something bigger.
Twice as big,
I think the answer should be Florida. All right, here it's completely serious.
I mean, it is the penis of the United States.
It is. That's half why I chose it. Half because like it gives us all the crazy news. Like crazy things happen in Florida. Sometimes we just need, something to laugh about. Something to.
Have you guys ever done the Florida Man challenge?
I have, and that's why I decided on Florida. But not just that, but think about it. If we make it bigger, twice as big, now there's more shoreline to go beaching, right? And go tanning. Not for me because I'm pasty. But like, for people that can tan. There's more like fishing, there's more like hotels, there's all these kind of things. And now like the economy boosts up, all these people get jobs. I'm thinking that let's make Florida twice as big.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So again, like you're just saying that, the panhandle, the actual geography of the state, it just sort of grows longer. Like it gets Viagra'd back further into the ocean and the Gulf and whatever, and it just like you're just pretty much like you're doubling the size of the state just jutting out into the ocean, right?
Yeah, like it can go like mesh with Cuba. They could finally be together.
Just mesh with Cuba.
Yeah, I see them as like star-crossed lovers. You know what I mean?
I picture it like the U.S. got its first erection.
Yeah.
Like it starts the whole panhandle just starts curving up.
Like it hit puberty.
And like just doubles in size. And it's like, oh, yeah. Okay. So I get what you're saying here in the sense that you're doubling essentially the actual location. The real estate doubles in size. So there's a lot more opportunity, more shoreline. I get it. Okay. And you're saying it's going to make it a better place because then there's more opportunity for Florida Man stories and weird things to happen that people can look up on Google and laugh at?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. So, all right, no problem. Here's my gripe with yours, Peter, is that you're doubling the actual landmass, but the population remains the same. So the actual amount of Florida Man stories will essentially more likely stay the same. Now, I assume that people would probably start moving there, given the fact that the headline would be U.S. gets first boner and people move into the shaft. Like
doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, shaft grows large, people migrate. Like I guess that's a headline that we'll see. But
gave Cuba just the tip.
Oh, Jesus Murphy. Okay. I like it. And now the cool thing about how this all started, Peter, was then you're saying like, what if I double the size of the Earth, give more people, place to stay and whatever, and more landmass for like place, like space for people to live, and there's more resources and everything, but then gravity is going to be different and everything fucks up and whatever, and then the moon starts crashing into the earth and shit like that. Like, I was like, wow, Peter's really like sciencing the fuck out of this. Like, good for him. And then he comes back with fucking, I want a bigger Florida because I want to laugh at the news. Like, that's basically what he comes back with. Justin's idea of doubling the lake size and whatever, again, the problems I see with this is the fact that you're now doubling these massive bodies of water, and that water needs to go somewhere. And I would imagine that you're either making space, like you're separating Canada and the US a little bit further apart. So you're pushing Canada further north, you're pushing everything further south, or you're just inundating or demolishing. Like, all of a sudden, all these cities become underneath the water. That could be a little bit devastating as well. This one's tough because whereas I get it, the extra lake and everything is pretty solid. But I'm going to ask you just real quick, Justin, what is your thought process on the fact that all these shoreline cities, that if you're doubling the size of these lakes, what are happening to these cities?
I didn't think that far ahead. When I wasn't urban planning this whole thing, that's the urban planner's job. My idea was just trying to increase the amount of water. Now, hold on, let me think this through. Sorry, I lost my voice. But what if when we say we double them twice in size, can I not double them twice in depth so that there's more water? So they could be deeper, but it doesn't affect the shoreline. Boom. Problem solved.
Okay, that's a pretty good one. All right, that's not a bad one. Again, I do not honestly know what the actual topography or topographical consequences would be about digging twice as deep into the lake and whatnot. Like, you might fucking summon some type of
Cthulhu,
fucking Godzilla down there. Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, guys, the way that 2020 has been going, I am not surprised that. I mean, maybe we need that. Maybe we just need to summon some sort of demon thing right now because the world is a scary place. Well,
we never know. Our next episode could be like, okay, hypothetically, what's the best way to negotiate with Cthulhu? Like, it's totally, Okay, so here's my ruling on this again. Peter, your answer was actually not that bad.
Took you 3 tries, but whatever.
My first one was a total knockout.
The thought process behind it of doubling landmass, especially in a part with lots of coastline and lots of, But the funny thing about it was, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see where this is going. You're doubling a really attractive landmass in a nice climate with a lot of opportunity and whatever. But your entire way, to me, I thought it was going to be more real estate in a really attractive area, and yours was more stories about people selling drugs to crocodiles. Like, that's kind of like what you were going with, and I'm like,
more crocodiles. That too.
That was a despite yourself, that was a pretty good answer. Justin, your answer was also really good because it has future implications about what the fucking post-apocalyptic world, like, you're thinking 100 years into the future here, where that water is going to be as good as gold. I imagine. I don't know. I'm going to be dead by then. Probably going to be dead next week. Who the fuck knows?
You're just thinking of water world. That's all you're thinking of.
Well, yeah, I minus the shitty reviews, but again, the fact that Justin, you saved yourself on this one because you would have thrown out your answer. And I hate to say it, but the whole part where you might have just buried a whole bunch of important towns, like Toronto. You pretty much saved the day on that one. So it was going to be an insta-Peter win. But I'm going to go ahead and have to give this one ultimately. I'm going to give this one to Peter.
Yes.
Oh. And it was really, really tough. And I actually went back and forth several times on this. And here's my reasoning for this. It's because the entire idea is you're doubling something to get as much joy out of the world in that moment, right? Like,
okay, but you said to make the world a better place.
Sure, that's fine, but a better place. But doubling the lake, like the depth of Lake Ontario today, does absolutely nothing for anybody. Because A, there's a good chance no one will know. B, there's no way to really take advantage of it now to any degree that matters. And I mean, yeah, down the line, it's like, sure, no problem. But like, I'm not saying it's a bad answer. I'm just saying that if you double the landmass of Florida, which just sort of propels itself a little bit further into the ocean, and you have all this extra landmass, that alleviates a lot of issue. But then again, there's probably a lot of real estate people who'd be pissed. I could be totally wrong, and this is why people who listen to this just reach out to me or Peter or Justin and tell us why we are right or wrong, because I am so torn on this. But I'm going to give this one to Peter in what I think is a very, very close one. And this was a tough one, too. So, Peter, congratulations. Despite yourself, you didn't even... The reason why you gave the answer isn't even the reason why you're fucking winning. You literally tripped down the stairs and threw a perfect game, if that is even an analogy that I can make. I don't even know.
The only reason that I won this 100-meter was because Usain Bolt ate it right at the finish line. It's the only reason.
If anybody's familiar with The Simpsons, that epic episode, Homer at the bat, where it's all down to him. He's got to drive in the winning runs for the softball tournament for the Isotopes for Mr. Burns' plant team to beat Shelbyville, and what happens? He just gets beamed in the head, and it counts as a run anyways because the bases were loaded and they win. That is what happened to you, Peter. That is exactly what happened to you.
Woo! This is absolute bullshit, and I protest.
That is the last thing you'll say, because final word goes to Peter. So Peter, just bask in your glory, because might be the only one you'll ever have legitimately.
I am basking in this glory like you've never even known. First off, I'd like to thank the state of Florida for giving me this win. Let's continue to support the economy down there by traveling down there once the borders open up. Secondly, let's just everybody love everybody. All right.
On this week's episode of Hypatheticals, Matt asked Justin and Peter what they would double in size to make the world a better place. Peter walked away with a victory this week, saying that he would double the state of Florida so that we could have more hilarious Florida man stories. If you enjoyed this week's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a rating and a review so other people can find the show. And also, if you have an idea for a hypothetical question that you want answered on the show, send us an email at hypotheticals@gmail.com. And be sure to follow us on all of our socials that are located down in the show notes. And on behalf of myself, Matt, and Peter, thank you guys so much for listening. Stay safe.